I wanted to come back on the point about elections, and I think it's kind of an issue that we're all dancing around. You are one of the leading contenders in the upcoming presidential election in Kenya in August. What would you say makes you a compelling candidate to the Kenyan people? But also, very importantly, you know, the truth is there are some people who have some concerns about, you know, whether it's issues around integrity or incidents in the past. So how would you respond to those concerns that people have? And some of them are quite, you know, they're quite valid. So how would you respond to those concerns that they have?
First and foremost, I'm a candidate in this. As you have put it correctly, I am not just a candidate. I am probably the leading candidate in this election. And it's not by default. It is because I have a track record that the people of Kenya know, they feel, and they associate with. And secondly, my team and I have a credible plan that is resonating with the people of Kenya. When you are in that pivotal position, you do not miss people who will say things about you. And that's the nature of politics, right? So we are very clear, and I am acutely focused on making sure that the plan we have, and it's a plan around taking Kenya from where we are today to the next level. And our plan, we've dubbed it the bottom-up economic plan that involves investments that would create jobs. And we are very clear these are targeted investments to create jobs and opportunity for young people. The second item is investments in agriculture, value addition, agro-processing, value addition, not just to create jobs, additional jobs, but to put money in the majority of people at the bottom of the pyramid. And our investment in that area will not only give us the returns we are looking for, but those returns will be within 2-3 years. That way we can expand the tax base and begin to tackle the challenge of debt. Our approach is to ensure that the micro, small, and medium enterprises that comprise 80% of all business in Kenya is addressed in 3 ways, in 3 fundamental ways. Create the necessary infrastructure for them to thrive, create a legal regime to protect their business, and much more importantly, put in place financial systems that protects these enterprises from predatory lenders. You may want to know that while big corporates access credit at plus or minus 10%, micro, small, and medium enterprises access credit at not 10%, but anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000%. That is the discrepancy, you know, and that's what is destroying opportunity, taking away opportunity from millions of citizens that are in the micro, medium, and small enterprise space. We intend to sort out that structural problem. And maybe just for the record, 15 million Kenyans today are blacklisted on CRB, on Credit Reference Bureau. That is half the working population of Kenya. And that tells you the toll that predatory lenders have taken on the people of Kenya. It is a matter of urgency. And that's why when I told you sorting out our economic situation is an imperative. It's not an option that we are looking at. And that plan also includes making sure that everybody carries a proportionate burden of health insurance. Today, the people at the bottom of the pyramid pay as much as 10% for health insurance. William Ruto, Deputy President, pays 0.80 before 1%. So that's the discrepancy. That's the inequality. That's what we must sort out. And as a result, we have a huge population that have been locked out. So our approach is to lower the costs for the people at the bottom of the pyramid and get people like myself and others to pay their rightful share. That health insurance is going to be graduated and based on everybody's income as opposed to giving static figures. So sorting out that space creates the bottom-up effect on everybody. Getting the jobless into jobs, getting the people who are paying high credit access to credit, getting our farmers' productivity up, getting those who have no access to health to have access to health. And we believe with this plan, we can take the country forward. Let me speak to the last item that you have mentioned on integrity. Integrity is an important subject in this election. Accountability, the fight against corruption, is a very important subject in this election. And speaking about integrity, our position and my personal position is that we must have an accountable government. We must have accountable public officials. And that accountability must be built around institutions. It's not for me to decide that Ken is corrupt or Zainab is corrupt. Institutions. The moment it is subjective, the moment it is personalized, then it runs the risk, as it has done in Kenya, of being used as a political tool against your competitors. It must be on the basis of institutions, and that's why our approach is, number one, immediately we come into office, we will operationalize the judicial fund. Operationalizing the judicial fund, which is in the Constitution, but has deliberately not been operationalized because there are people who want to continue to use the war against corruption as a political tool against their opponents. That's why they do not want to operationalize the constitutional institutions that would actually do the fight against corruption effectively. So operationalizing the judicial fund will do three things. Number one, it will give the resources to the judiciary to hire the men and women who can then prosecute cases. Number two, it will give them the opportunity to build the software and the training of those people. And number three, it would make it that much more easy to determine cases within the shortest time possible. For your information, it takes anywhere between 10 and 15 years to prosecute one case. one corruption case. That's why I think it's correct for people to say justice delayed is justice denied. The second item, which we will operationalize immediately, is to make sure that the criminal justice organs, including the Inspector General of Police that carries out investigations, the Director of Criminal Investigations Department, and all those other institutions have not only constitutional independence as it is, but they also have operational and financial independence. Today, all investigations, criminal investigations, investigations of corruption are carried out by institutions that depend on the office of the president to give them the money. The law provides that these institutions should have their own financial independence, complete with accounting officers and their own money, that they don't have to depend on the office of the president or indeed any other office to prosecute matters corruption. And the third issue for us is to make sure there is no budgeted corruption. Today, you have close to 100 billion Kenya shillings budgeted every year that has no oversight in opaque institutions. And that amount has grown fivefold, between 4 and 5-fold in the last 10 years. And where you have accountability problems, where you have oversight challenges, the more money you put in opaque institutions, the greater the corruption in there. It is our position that we should get away and make sure that every coin is accounted for. Lastly, and this is the reason why some of us were said to be against the handshake, you know. The handshake took away the oversight role of the opposition. In Kenya today, we do not have an opposition. There is a mongrel of an organization. Nobody knows what the hell it is. People don't know whether we have the opposition in government or the government in the opposition. It's quite a maybe scientists, maybe policymakers in this great institution in Carnegie could do research on what is going on in Kenya. Because for all intents and purposes, the opposition is running government and government is running the opposition, which is quite a situation.
By handshake, you mean the alliance? For those of us
who... the alliance between what was supposed to be the governing party and the opposition party, that ended up in a situation where the whole of that arrangement actually did 4 fundamental things. Number one, because of that conundrum where government decided to work with the opposition and the opposition decided to become part of government, committees that are supposed to be chaired by government are chaired by the opposition, and that kind of thing. What happened? We lost the opposition, we lost the governing party, we lost the government agenda, and we ended up, all of us, as losers, because we lost almost 4 years chasing a mirage, you know, that did not really work. Where does it leave us now? It leaves us now the supposed opposition leader has become a puppet of government. And the leader of the ruling party is now a refugee in the opposition. So it's quite a situation.